Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we are gonna learn about the functions. Basically, function is a reusable block of code which only runs when it is called. It is a reusable block of code which runs only when it is called. A function also helps to avoid the repetition of the code. Uh, it is also helps to avoid the code repetition. And let's know how to create the function. In function, in Python, function is defined using a def keyword. Uh, it is uh, it is usually it is created by a def keyword, followed by the function name and a parenthesis, followed by a function name and parenthesis. Let's create this. Use the def keyword first and create a function name. And there are some rules for the function name. How to create a function name, there are some rules. It is same as the creating the variable name. You should because it's bracket and if you want to print some other word, let's see how to call the function. How to call function. We call the function by taking the variable name. So let's take the same code and let's try to run this and uh, and exit the function and call the function. That is the function name is here my function. This is how you call a function. Let's see in the VS Code and and run. You can see the output is given as a hello world when you call the function. You can call the function as many times that you want. If you want to print a hello world one more time, and if you want to print the hello world three times, call the function three times and run the code. You can see the output here is given as hello world. Hello world is up to three times. Now Let's see how to. There are some rules for function names. It is similar to the variable name. First rule is it should start with an alphabet or an underscore, which underscore or a letter. And second rule, the name should contain the name. The name should contain letter, underscore, and digits. It should contain only letters, underscore, and digits. And it is also a case sensitive. Names are case sensitive. Let's see some valid names. Suppose you want to print anything that you want. This is a function name. You can also add digits, valid, or you can also start with an underscore. You can also use this as a function name. And if you want to only use the characters and digits, this is also as a you can use as a function name. Let's see some invalid names. Invalid. It should not start with an digit, so it is an invalid name. And it also should not contain any special symbol. It is also not an invalid function name. And so these are some invalid names and valid names that you can use. See more topic called return values. Function can send data back to the code that call them using the return functions. Can send the data back to the code. The call them using the return statement. When a function reaches a return statement, it stops executing and sends the result back. When a function reaches a return, it stops and sends the result back. Let's see with an example. Uh, Create a function, anything that you want, and give an indentation here. So return hello, and let's create a variable a here, and let's call the function return underscore greeting, and so create a variable, and let's call the function and print the let's see the VS Code from the code. We can see the output here as hello world. This is an use of return statement. And let's see the pass statement. It is similar that we use in the loops and the conditional statement. But function also cannot be without the block of code, without the block code. So we use pass statement here as we use in the conditional statements and loops. Let's see the difference between the print statement and print and let's see the difference between return. Basically, print displays the output. When you comes to the return, it sends the values back when you use the function. Sends the values back. Uh, we can uh, we can reuse the result here. In this case, the result can be used of that I written to. Result can be used. It is mainly used to display the mainly used to display. It is basically used in the functions for the calculation. Use it for the calculation. So let's move to the parameters, and Arguments. Basically, parameter means is the variable listed inside the parentheses in the function definition is a variable listed inside parentheses in a function definition. And the argument means argument means the actual value that is sent to the function when it is called. It is an actual value is sent to the function when it is called. Let's see with an example. What are these parameters and arguments? Let's create an function name. Inside this, we gave an variables. This is known as a parenthesis. These are called as a parenthesis. These are known as a parameter. These are known as a parameter. And and if you want to print, hello, use a plus operator to add the two strings. Let's take a name. So here there is no need of string space here, and call the function. That is my function. Inside this, we give an information that is known as an argument. So here name, the information that we give for the function is an argument. Is uh, and let's see few points. Basically parameters. can be we can give n number of parameters that we want. We can give n number of parameters that we want. Let's see with an example, and let's see this in the VS Code once, and you can understand, and we can see the another point also. Let's run the code. You can see the output here is given as a hello judgment. Here the judgment is an argument that we pass it. We can give a number of parameters that we want. So just divide with an comma, give an age, and while giving, see, let's also print the age by using the f strings. That is hello world, and I already gave an information that is 18 age. Hello name, your age is age, and that's and the code. Okay, you can see the output. This so you can store the n number of parameters that you want. Let's see about the other one, that is the number of arguments that you could pass. By default, a function must be called with a correct number of arguments. A function must be called with a correct number of arguments. If your function expects two arguments, you must provide two arguments. For example, let's take an last code that we printed. Now let's take example. You are given two arguments that and function also needs the two arguments. It's going to be correct is and the last prompt. If you remove an 18 and let's try to print this and now run the code. So let's remove 18 and now run the code. You can see that it's giving an error that my the function name and missing one repeat positional argument, that is age. Here the age argument is missing. So it's given error. Let's see one more thing, that is a default parameter. Default, you can assign a default value into the parameters basically. Let's see with an example with the same code. If you want to know default values, let's take s, and the default value of age is 20. When you are not giving anything in the function, so let's see. Let's you want to print a function and you're not giving anything in the argument. Uh, in that case, the default values has been used that are name as a age and the age as a 20, and it prints the hello age, your age is 20. Let's try this in the VS Code and also try the another question as well. Now run the code, you can see the output. When I didn't give any argument, but it used the default values that we given. This is how an default values is being used. If you give an input, so if you give an output only Jashwant and on the code, you can see the output here given as hello Jashwant, your age is 20. Here we didn't give an argument of an age, but it used an default value that is 20. This is the usage of an default arguments. Now let's go to another, that is Python works and keyword works. Basically, when you are giving an argument, we should give the correct number of arguments. Sometimes we don't know how many arguments that we want to pass, so we use these two. So first one is args. It is an arbitrary argument. Basically, if you don't know how many arguments will be passed into the function, add add an star symbol before the parameter name. So if you don't know how many arguments will be passed into your function, add uh, before the parameter. Let's see with an example. Let's take the function name as my function and use an before the Use the star symbol before the parameter. That's it. Now you can print. You have enough three kids or four kids. If you want to print a specific kid, so that's the youngest child is kid of that indexing that you want to give. So before after leave the indexing first and let's view the arguments. Call the function and you don't know how you have four kids or you have three kids. Let's write it to this one and yes. And the youngest child is an age. Give an indexing value of 2 because it is 0, 1 and 2. Age is in 2. So let's try in the useful ones. So, just a minute. Run the code. Sorry, here it's an kids because we gave a parameter kids. So here also it should be kids. So now run the code. We can see the output. The youngest child is H. This how you can pass an n number of arguments by using an star symbol before the parameter that is an arbitrary argument. Basically, it's nothing but an argument, arbitrary arguments, nothing but we can accept a number of positional arguments, not in keyword argument. It accepts only the positional argument. It accepts only position argument. If let's use an keyword argument one. Let's keep and kids here. We can't, but let's keep and let's try to print run this. You can see that error. It's giving us my function got an unexpected keyword argument. So it got a keyword argument here. So which is an kids. We can't use the keyword argument here. We should only use the positional argument. Next is another that is known as arbitrary keyword or arbitrary keyword argument. It is also similar to the parameter, the before one arbitrary argument. Here we use a keyword instead of parameter argument we use a keyword argument here. Instead of position argument we use keyword argument. That's it, the difference. And uh, use an double star here. Let's see with an example. It's the double star. If you don't know how many arguments will be passed into a function, add a double star function before the parameter. So Here we give and keywords. I don't know how many keywords that you are going to add here. So let's take two. That is name equal to. Let, let's take friend name, friend, friend name, and let's take this as an anger shade. Use an anger shade equal to S. And let's take Joe as a older brother. Well, let's try to run the code. And here, if you want to print the youngest child, print an youngest child. Use the youngest child. And let's try this in the VS Code. And run the code. Sorry, here I should do the kids again. Kids and run the let's run the code. It's giving an error here. Let name error name youngest child is not defined. See what's an error here. I did a mistake here. We should use an double quotes here. And close with the double quotes. We are using the double quotes because dictionary keys are the string. Here, the keys will be in the string. So we use the double quotes here. So let's run this. Let's run the code. You can see the output the English is and this how an is an our arbitrary keyword argument is one over. So you can't use an parameter positional argument here. So let's use the combination of arbitrary argument and arbitrary keyword argument. We can use both here. Let's use an example. Let's use definition. Let's take an function name, my function. Take a title and another is an arts and another is a keyword. Let's print this, print title, and also print the arbitrary argument that you want. We should only use the position argument here. Position R, and also print the keyword out. And keyword R. Now on the exit the loop and do the arguments values. The title is let's say title is the user info and and let's use the arguments here. Let's do let's take any names. Let's take two names and let's give the arbitrary keyword argument. Let's do two arbitrary keyword arguments. One is age, another is city. That is, and let's try to run the code and we'll score one. Let's try it. You can see that all the arguments here and let's run that. So yes, clear it. So to clear and let's clear this and run that. You can see the output. It's given the form of dictionary. So we use it as string in the last program. You can see here it is given as a tuple. This is how you use and combining the arbitrary argument and arbitrary keyword argument. What is the another topic is scope. Basically, scope refers to the specific region of the program where the variable can be accessed. So it is a specific region where the variable can be accessible. Access. There are basically two types. That is, one is local scope, and second one is global scope. Starting with an local scope. Local scope is nothing but a variable created inside the function belongs to the local scope. A variable created inside the function is an global. So if you want to print, let's take a definition and let's take some function name and uh, declare the variable of 300 and print the x, print the 300 and call the function. And let's try this in the VS Code once. Let's run this. You can see that it gave an output of 300. Let's print this in the outside the function. Print x and now run the code. You can see that it's giving an error because it is and the variable x is only for the belongs to the function and it is local to the function. It is not belongs to the outside the function which is we printed the x. So let's see about the global scope. Global scope is nothing but we are printing an we are taking a variable outside the function. Let's take an x equal to 200 and let's try to and print the x after the completion of the function. So let's see in the VS Code. So let's create an variable outside the function that is x equal to 200 and now run the code. You can see the output here as 300 and 200. So here x belongs to the this print x and it is globally used. So if you remove x equal to 300 here, and let's run one more time. You can see the output. It can be accessed at anywhere, at any position. So that is why it is called as a global scope. Using the same variable inside and outside the code function, it takes as a two separate variables, and this x belongs to the function, and this x belongs to this print x. So it behaves as a two different variables. And let's know what is the use of the here. The we should change the definition that is outside the function. That is the use of the global scope. And let's move to the global keyword. You are using a local variable, but you should use the that local variable outside the function also. We use a global keyword here. Let's take one function and take the global x here. You can change the local X to the global X. That's the use of the global keyword 300 and my and call the function and the print the X again here. Also print the inside the function and you can see the difference. So let's run the code. We have an implementation here from the code. You can see the output here given as a 300 and 300. This is use of the global keyword that we can change the local variable in local scope variable into the global scope. About the non-local keyword, non-local. Basically, non-local keyword is used to work with the variables inside the nested function. Non-local is used to work with the variables inside the nested function. Let's create a function here. Let's create a local variable here that is again. Let's create one more function because it's a nested function. Let's take a non-local here. Let's make a local variable x to the non-local variable x, and now we can change the x value. Let's make an hello and call the function. Here, my function one. We should take the two different functions. Let's call the second function and the return x. Uh, you can see that it is also explaining the nested functions. My function one. Let's try this code in the VS ones and I will explain you that. Let's run the code. Let's listen it. You can see that it's doing a function at 0, 0. Let's see somewhere there is some error. Let me check. Let's give an parenthesis here. So let's run the code. You can see that output given is an hello. Oh, let's remove a non-local here and let's check using You can see that it's giving an output chain now because it is a non-local variable to any function. When you use a non-local nested function, when you are printing when you're using a non-local variable, it takes a non-local variable to the inside function also. So we can't use here. So we use a non-local function. So so that we can make a local function into non-local, and we can create the variable again, and you can change the value here. Now let's move to the another topic. It is a lambda function. Basically, lambda function is nothing but a small anonymous function. It is a small anonymous function. So it can take any number of arguments. It can take any number of arguments, but the expression should be one. But uh, but it has only one expression. Let's see the syntax for this. So write the lambda and write the arguments. Write the expression. Let's see with an example. You have an x equal taken variable x and use the lambda function. Lambda a, a is an argument and changes to a plus 10 and print the and I want to create give the value, that is the argument value, that is 5. So let's see in the edge code. Let's run the code. You can see that it gave an output of 15 because the value is 5 and 5 plus 10 is 15. We can use multiple arguments. Let's take a comma. We can take another argument that is b and add the a plus b and give a value of 4 and run the code. You can see that output here is 9. Basically, lambda function is useful when you create inside the function. Let's use that. Let's define one function and give an parameter that is n. And if you want to change add n with any number, you can use the lambda function. Let's give a return lambda. We got n plus 10. So use an Let's n. If you want to add with n with the 10, given x value is 10. So enter and exit from the loop, exit from the function, and give an variable a that is as a function as 2 and print the a of 11. Let's run the code. X has change the 10 as n. You can see the output is 13 because we gave an argument of 2 for n and we gave an 11 for the lambda function x. So 11 plus 2 is 13. If you want to multiply, is multiplication and the code. You can see the output is given as 22. This is the use in a lambda function. And let's move to the another topic, that is recursion. Recursion is nothing but reusing the function inside the function again. Recursion is nothing but a function calling itself. Function calling itself. Let's see with an example that you can understand. Let's create print the done. If n is less than or equal to 0, you can say that it is completed. That means done. If it is not less than 0, we can use to decrease the n value. So we can use n minus 1 like that. So else print n and again countdown become. We are calling the function itself. See this one function. We are calling it again and making n minus 1. It's gonna continue until it becomes 0 or it's less than the 0. And we exit the countdown, exit the function and give an argument value. That is, let's run this. Let's run the code. Sorry, it should be enclosing the double quotes. Now run the code. You can see the output here is 54321 and when it becomes 0, it printing the done. So let's see how it is running. So first we have taken argument of 5. So we taken argument of 5 and taking the argument of 5 it checks in the condition here, that is n is greater than or equal less than or equal to 0. It is false. So we'll go to the else statement and here we can say that printing the n. So it prints the n value, that is 5, and countdown becomes countdown of countdown of 4. So it's similar to the loop. It's gonna check the condition and again. So we gave argument of 4 now. So check again. So it takes an n equal to 4 here, and it check the condition. The condition is going to be false again. So it goes else statement and print the 4, and then countdown becomes that value or argument becomes 3. This is gonna continue up to the 0. So you can say the final output will be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when it becomes 0, it prints the done. This is the use of recursion. Solve a few problems based on the today's lecture. So first problem is finding the second largest number in the list. So finding the second largest number in the list. So create an function that is second largest, and let's have a parameter that is a number given an annotation, and take first element from the numbers so that we can compare the two digits. The six largest equal to numbers, and let's take a second. Let's take a second number is also as 0. Now let's use a for loop here for for, for num in numbers. If num is greater than largest, then second will be equal to largest, and largest becomes num. So there is one more condition, that is we use elif. Elif num is greater than second, and num is not equal to largest. Do an indentation here. And the second becomes number. Let's now return set. Take a num. Let's take a num first. List that we have 10, 45, some random numbers 45, 23, 67, 89. Let's take again the 67. And the second largest number is 67. Let's see how it's gonna print. So print second underscore largest of nums. That's run the code. You can see that output is given as 67. Let's see how this code is going to work. So we taken a test. So that is this, and we taken as its largest number is numbers of zero, that is index of zero is 10, so it is 10, and second also as 10. So we are taking first iteration is num in numbers. So we are taking first iteration, that is num equal to 10 again. So just checking the condition here. So it's not going to be true, and this condition is also not going to be true. So it's not going to work with the first iteration, and let's move to the second iteration, that is 45. And now let's check the condition is number 45 is greater than largest. So second becomes 10 now, and largest becomes 45. And let's move to the third iteration, that is 23. And now it checks the condition with 23 and 45. It's going to be false here. And now it's gonna check with ellipse condition, that is 23 is greater than 10. So it's going to be true here, and num is not is equal to the largest. This condition also is true. So it's going to be second, going to be the num now. So second will be 23. This is how you compare two numbers, and also will it moves to the next iteration, that is 67, and it's gonna check the condition with 67, and the largest value is 45. So the if condition is going to be true here, so second value becomes largest value. Second value is 45, and largest value becomes this number, largest value becomes 67. Now we'll move to the next iteration, 89, and checks the condition. Again, it compares the 89 and the 67. Again, if condition is going to be true, now the second value becomes the largest value, that is 67, and largest value becomes num, that is 89. So this is our first iteration, and it's not going to be work. So we move to the second iteration, and this is a third iteration, and here if condition is going to be true, condition is going to be true. Here in third iteration, if condition is going to be true. And when we move to the fourth iteration, again if condition is going to be true, and in fifth iteration, this is an fifth iteration, and here again if condition is going to be true. Now we'll move to the last iteration, that is 67, and it checks the condition with the largest value. So if condition is going to be false, so we'll move to the elif statement and checks whether it's going to be true or not. Elif statement is 61 is compared with second value, that is also a 67. If the condition is going to be false, and num is also, so the condition is false here, so there is no use of num 67. There is no use of sixth iteration. This is a sixth iteration. So the final output, that is we return the second. So final output that we print is the second value. The second value here is 67. So we print second second value as 67. So put will be the 67. This is how you check the second largest value. Now let's move to the another problem, that is uh, counting the number of uppercase letters and counting the number of lowercase letters. The way code, let's directly do it, and I will explain the question. Count uppercase letters, uppercase and lowercase. I already explained that there are two functions to check that whether the character is an upper or lower. Those are the is upper function, and second function is lower function. Is upper function is used to check whether character is an uppercase letter or not. When we move to the is lower function, it checks whether uh, the character is an lowercase letter or not. By this, we solve the coding problem here. Count letters. Let's create a function. Let's given parameter that is in text, and let's given two variables. These are the local variables. Upper is 0 and the lower is these two. Upper equal to 0 and lower equal to 0 are the variables which stores the counting values when we're looping. So let's use a for loop for C character in text. We use if else condition here. If ch dot is upper, then you're gonna count upper is upper becomes upper plus 1. So else, right? So you can use elif for an else. Let us use. So we have condition, so we have to use elif. So we can't use else because we have a condition here is lower. So let's take a lower plus equal to 1. So exit the loop and return the lower and the upper. Upper, comma. Lower. Now let's go now give an string. Let's take a string with an input from the user this time. So let's take a string is input of enter the text. And upper case comma lowercase is equal to count. We have two returns here, so we use an upper and two variables here. Count underscore letters. So using this right letters of string. So let's append this print uppercase letters for uppercase print lowercase. So let's go run this. You can see here we want to enter the text. Let's print hello world Python. Let's enter it. See the uppercase letters are five. They are capital H, capital W, and capital PYT. And remaining them all are lowercase letter. That is, we have four here, and we have four more here. That is eight, and we have two here. So we have total 10 lowercase letters. This is how you check an number of uppercase and lowercase letter using the functions. If you want to explain briefly, let us explain this code. So let's having a text with let's create a simple text with a small. Yes, we have one uppercase and two lowercase. So we are using the for condition. So let's move to the first iteration, that is j. So here j equal to j, and so it's a capital J. So if it checks the first condition, that is if statement. So first condition is going to be true because this is capital J, so it is in the uppercase. So if statement is going to be true, upper becomes 0 plus 1, that equal to 1. And we're gonna print second iteration, that is A. So and checks if condition. So here if condition is going to be false. So it moves to elif and checks the elif's condition. So elif condition is going to be true. So lower becomes 0 plus that equal to 1. And the final iteration, that is S. Uh, S also checks a condition, and elif condition is going to be true. So lower becomes the last layer is a 1, so 1 plus 1. So it becomes 2. So let's see, it's an first iteration, and this is a second iteration, and this is a third iteration. So here, if condition is going to be true, if condition is going to be true here, in this both cases, elif condition is going to be true in both iterations. Elif condition is going to be true. You can also check in the VS Code one. So it's so the number of uppercase letters are, sorry. So, so the number of upper is 1, and lower becomes here 2. Lower becomes 2, and you can also check the same text with the VS Code. Let's run one more time and give an input. Here it is. You can see that upper is 1 and lower is 2. This is how you count an uppercase and lowercase letters. Now let's do one more problem. That is remove the duplicate from the list. So let's do the one more problem. That is removing the duplicate. Removing the duplicate from the list. I already explained that list can allow the duplicates, but fetch cannot. So let us remove the duplicates from the list because it is allowing the duplicate. So let's create an function, remove duplicates, and let's take an parameter list. So let's take an empty list that we can store the values. use the for loop here. If items not in uh, not in result. So sorry, we should use item here. So result we should append the item into the result query. If it is not in the result, we can directly append the result. Append the item. You know that append is used to store the item in the list. I mean to add the item into the list. Uh, then return the result. Now let's create an list. It's an simple list. So enter the result. So we should call the function. So function name is remove duplicates, and let's call the function with an name and run the code. You can see that we have an output 1 to 3 without an duplicate, because here we used it 1 to 3 once, and it's again we are using 1 to 3. So this is known as a duplicate. We can't allow the values once again. Let's see how this code is going to work. Now let's see how this code is going to be work. We have taken an list that is 1 2 3 1 2 3. So we should go to the first iteration, that is item equal to 1. So which checks the condition to the result. We have a empty result, so there is no item in that, so we can directly add the condition is going to be true. So it's gonna happen in the result. So result becomes stuff. Now it goes to the second iteration, which is item is 2, and result becomes it sets the condition. Consider 2 is not in the result. 2 is not in the result, so it's gonna append the value 2 also. So let's go to the third iteration. Then I'm gonna check it. So the condition is going to be true. So it's gonna append the third item also. And let's move to the next iteration, item equal to 1 again. So the item 1 is already present in the result. So this condition is going to be false. So let's check the item is equal to 2. Again, that is the next iteration. Again, the condition is going to be false. So let's print item equal to 3 this time. So you can see that the condition is going to be false again. The third item is also in the result. This is how this code is going to be work. Now let's move to the another problem. Let's use the recursion this time. Choose recursion. Using recursion, let us do the factorial problem. I already explained a factorial, which is an factorial is nothing but multiplying all the numbers which is. Let's take example with an example you can understand better. I have a digit 5. If we want a 5 factorial, it is represented like this in the mathematics. If you want a factorial of 5, it is a 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. It is nothing but a multiplication of all the digits that is before the multiplication of all the numbers that present before that number. So let's build a factorial problem using the recursion. Basically the 1 factorial and 0 factorial is the same, that is a 1. So this factorial, let's build a factorial function. And take if n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, if any one of the conditions is going to be true, then the factorial of 0 and 1 is, let's say that it is 1. Other than this, else return the n into factorial of n minus 1. This is the basic problem that using the recursion. So let's take an input from the user this time. Enter the number. Now the result becomes, let's take a variable, let's try to print it, print factorial, that is factorial of number. Let's run the code. Let's take an input of 5. You can see that factorial is 120. Let me explain how this recursion code is working. So let's take an input from the user is num equal to 3, because it's a simple number, so we can easily understand. So it checks the first condition, it is not equal to 0 and it is not equal to 1. So it goes to the else statement and gives the 3 multiplies factorial of 2. And we gave again, we call the function again here, that is giving an argument of 2. So it's gonna print it, it checks the condition. If condition is going to be false, it prints check condition, else condition, and become the factorial of factorial of 1. So now we call the function again, but this time we got an num as a argument as a 1. So the first condition is going to be true and returns the 1. So the final output will be the 3 times of 2 times of 1, that is 6. Let's check in the VS Code once with the same input. Let's gonna run one more time and input the input, and you can see the factorial is given as 6. This is how we check and factorial of it. Let's see what is meant by Fibonacci series. It is nothing but a number pattern where each number is the sum of the two numbers before it. It basically starts with a 0 and 1. When it goes to the next digit, it's gonna add this 2, that is 0 plus 1. It's gonna become again 1. And after this 1 and 1 gonna add, it becomes 2. After this 2 and 1 is gonna add and becomes 3. And after this 3 and 2 gonna become add and 2 is 5, and it's gonna move and so on. So this is known as basically a Fibonacci space. So let's do a problem in a VS Code. Let's give a function first. Okay, so and give a parameter that is n, and if n is equal to 0, just return the 0 because it starts with 0 and 1. So return 0. Else, if n is equal to 1, just return 1. Okay, let's else return n minus 1 plus n minus. We are calling the function twice in this function. So let's take a number from the integer. Let us exit from the function. Take an input from the user. Enter the Let's gonna print this. Let's run the code. Run the code and see how the output is. I want to up to the
5 values. So it's giving an error here. Let me check once. Sorry, it is spelling mistake. It's epic. Let's run one more time. Now you can see that it is giving an entire value. I want to the 5. I given a 5. Oh, sorry guys, it's giving some error. Let me check. Sorry, there is no error in this. The Fibonacci value is 5 when you given a 5. So you can see here it is 0 when it's 0, 1 when it's 1, 2 when it is 1, and 3 is 2, 4 is 3, and 5 is 5. Let me explain the code. Let's take an uh, argument that is a 5. So this if condition and elif condition going to be false. So Fibonacci, yeah, it will becomes, it will call the function that is 4 plus three. So this gonna continue. So we again call the function. So it will continue again. G of 4 minus 1 is 3 plus uh, 2. So this is an Fibonacci of 4 when you call the function. So then use this for 3. So when you use for 3, it will becomes it will becomes 3 becomes 2 plus 10 minus 2 is 1. So after checking the condition, here it returns the value 1. So again we should solve this problem. So again it here it becomes 3 minus 1, that is 2 plus 1 again. So it's gonna become Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1. Again these two will become Fibonacci 1 plus Fab 0, and this will be multiplied with 2 times because of Fab it is 2 times. So this will now be multiplied with 2 times plus 1. You can see that here this value will be 0 if we use the if condition, and this value will be 1, and again this value will be 1, and in next iteration this gonna change for Fibonacci 1 plus Fibonacci 0 becomes 0 again. Again we should add this one, and we should multiply with 2 with this, so it will become 2 plus, and the last value again with 1. The total will be 5, and this is about the Fibonacci series, and this is the last question, and so that's it for today, and this is also an ending for the basic concepts of the Python, and thank you for watching up to here. Thank you.